So I was the victim of a love scam. So this is going to be a story time. So grab your snack, grab your coffee, get cozy, because this is going to be juicy. It's not clickbait. It's a follow-up to my last video that I posted a couple of days ago called I'm Done With Dating, where I talked about leaving the dating scene in favor of possibly something better. If you haven't already, check that video out and then run right back here for this juicy story time. That may give you a little bit of flavor and context about me and what I'm talking about. But I'm just going to jump right in. I'm going to say eight-ish years ago, I was living in Michigan. Instagram was a new technology. I'm scrolling, and I see this particular Instagram model, and I mean, they checked all of the boxes for me. Let's just say that. I don't know if any of you guys either have or have ever had a physical type, especially when you were younger. But this person was just smoking, and so I'm not sure, but I think I sent them a message and got no response. To make a long story short, I lived in Michigan. I moved to Los Angeles for a number of years, and now I live in the Dallas, Texas area. And when I first moved here, I jumped on some of the dating apps just to kind of get to know, the flavor of the area. And I saw the same model. Now, guys will understand this a little bit more than ladies, I think, but I think for guys, when you have an attraction, it's almost like a compulsion to communicate or to reach out. And so I did again. I sent, a second message. And this time, I got a response. I mean, within a few minutes, I got a response. So immediately, my heart starts going. But the conversation is so smooth. We hit it off. They're interesting. They're funny. Blah, blah, blah. So a couple of days into us chatting, I got the courage up to, broach the subject of us hanging out. And they were into it. And so now all of a sudden, and I said, come over, let's have drinks, we'll hang out, whatever. So all of a sudden, this Instagram model that I had kind of fantasized about was going to be at my house. And so, I was all over the place. So this is when we made plans and we were going to hang out, and this is kind of when it started. So I get a text a few minutes before we're supposed to hang out saying, hey, can you come and pick me up because I'm between vehicles right now? And I was so gung-ho, I was so head over heels at that point that I wasn't going to, let that be a speed bump. So, I got in my car and went and picked them up. And they lived in Fort Worth, in Texas, which is about 45 minutes from where I live. And so it was quite a bit of a drive. But they come out of their apartment, and when I tell you guys, stunning. The pictures didn't do them any justice. They actually looked, to me, better in person. So immediately I'm tongue-tied. I don't even know what to say. I mean, every angle, this person was just gorgeous. But they made me really comfortable. I mean, we laughed on the way home, and they were coherent. We had good conversation. And I'm going to tell you, that first meeting or hangout, it lasted 8 hours. I mean, we watched movies, we had drinks, the conversation never ran out. The next Friday, we hung out again. That second hangout lasted 12 hours. We would hang out and then text each other, oh, I had such a great time. And, this is 8 years after I first encountered this person. At this point, I'm 36, 37 years old. But, feeling like a kid because I'm getting all of this attention from, someone that I think is just the bee's knees in that way. So after the second hangout, that's where the weirdness started. So one evening, a couple of days after we hung out, I got a text saying, "Hey, I'm super embarrassed. I hate to ask this, but do you mind if I borrow $30? I'm stranded. I need to get home from work. Can you cash app it to me so I can take an Uber?" Now, I was so on cloud nine, I was having so much fun hanging out at that point that I decided to look the other way and sent the money. I also didn't want to be a person, if this was an earnest request, that was just so suspicious that, I couldn't help someone out. And so I did it. And they were super appreciative. And a couple of days later, the second request came. "Hey, I get paid this Friday. I hate to ask this. Do you think I can borrow $50? I'm still in this phase where I'm so excited about hanging out that I still wasn't ready to let it go. I'm knowing at this point, I don't think I should continue to, send funds. But I did. And guys and gals, that went on longer than I'm proud to admit. And, I was several $100s, kind of into this thing. It started with them being stranded, and they were hungry, and they were this, and they were that. And eventually, these little things started getting into the way of our hanging out. And so we were hanging out less and less and less, but they were having more and more problems. I haven't eaten today, and this and that and the other. And eventually, it had gone so long, it was like 3.5 weeks or something since we had last hung out. And it was like, one day I woke up and it was like a spell had been broken. It had been so long. And I looked in the mirror and I said, "You know what? I think you've been scammed. I think this person was just trying to get money from you." And it took me a couple of days because I said, "Wow, I can't believe the lengths that they went to make me comfortable, to understand my schedule and my routine and all of these different things, and understand, what to ask for, how to ask for it." And I confronted the person. I sent them a message one day after a request, and I said, "We're friends. I like you a lot. I enjoy hanging out with you. But this isn't making me feel comfortable anymore, the amount of money that I'm sending." And they flew off the handle. Their response just didn't really match my tone. It was just a question. And so what they did was, "I'm going to block you, and I'm done. I can't believe you would ask me questions like that." And so what they decided to do was weaponize their presence. Withhold their presence from me as a punishment. Has anybody ever tried to do that to you in your life? Comment below. And by now, my self-esteem was kind of wrapped up in this fun, this fling that we were having. And even then, even after all of the red flags were basically confirmed, I negotiated. Told the person, I still like you a lot. I don't want to not be friends anymore. And long story short, guys, it took time. It took a lot of separation from that situation for the honeymoon phase to kind of die down. And I went back more than once, and realized, obviously the second time, okay, a thing is a thing is a thing. But, I kept saying to myself, you're not the type of person, you're not the demographic to get scammed in that way. Financial scams are not done to people like you. But I was a victim. Has anything like that ever happened to you, where you were in a situation and your spidey senses were tingling and you didn't listen? Looking back, so much of my self-esteem was wrapped up into the attention that I was getting, that's what I was paying for. I was basically a willing participant in this scam, to a certain point. And it took me to snap out of it and wake up and realize a few things. One, I'm getting a little bit older and I'm moving into a demographic where people will look at what I have, maybe look at my assets and things like that, and try to take advantage of me. And so that means that dating looks differently. It means that, I have to look at folks in different ways. Now, let me say this, that situation was not traumatizing for me. I've dated since then. I recognize that everyone is not like that, you know. But I just got to thinking the other day about paying for relationships, and it happens all the time. It happens in unexpected ways. It happened to me, and sometimes it is, not about money. Sometimes it's friendships that you're paying for. Sometimes you're showing up for people in ways that they're not showing up for you. And because of these justifications that we tell ourselves, this is family. I've known this girl for 30 years. I've known this guy, and he means well. He just doesn't know any better. We allow ourselves to be violated and torn down and used in ways that we shouldn't. Elder abuse and love scams, these financial things, they are billion-dollar industries. So have any of you ever been financially scammed before? And if not, have you ever paid for a relationship, put in more than you were getting back? And what was the catalyst for you to stop being taken advantage of and stop being used? I'd love to, hear your thoughts. The next time I come on, guys, I thought we would talk about breaking up with friends, friendship breakups. Friendships with adults, it's just an interesting thing, and it's an interesting conversation. And, I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. So if you haven't yet, go check out my last video. For my channel, it's really, taking off and doing well. So again, I appreciate everyone for clicking on this video. If you made it this far, please give this video a like, if you will, a comment, and please consider subscribing to my channel so you can keep up with the latest and the greatest. And until our next conversation, have a great day.